Problem 4-103. Find the measure of angle CPM in the diagram at right. List any subproblems that were necessary to solve this problem. So we've got this diagram. Here is angle CPM. Wonder what that stands for. We want to figure out what the angle here measure is going to be. So we know that side CP is parallel to side AB. Wow, this is a little throwback to geometry. Now we've got two parallel lines, and they're both intersected by two transversals. This is going to create some special angles between our parallel lines. So in order to figure out what the angle CPM is going to be, since we have a couple variables, it looks like we're going to have to come up with a couple equations to make a system of equations. So let's look at what we know here. I know that angle PCM and angle MAB are congruent. Why? Because they're alternate interior angles. Let's even list that here. That'll be fun. Angle C. Oops, I screwed up already. Dang it. Let's erase that and let's do that again. All right, here we go. Angle P C M is congruent to angle M. Or you could say, let's do B A M. Bam! I know you saw that coming. So, we know those are congruent because those are what we call the alternate interior angles. So, here we go. I know that this angle measure is congruent to this one. The angles are going to be equal. So, 4x minus 3y should equal 65. I also know that angle PMC should be congruent to angle BMA. Why? Because they are what we call reflexive angles. Let's write those ones down too. Angle PMC is congruent to angle BMA. Why? We just said it. It was reflexive angles. I ran out of room though, so I ain't writing that. We can then say then that the equation 2x plus 3y should equal 3x minus y. Now we've got two equations here. Maybe we can use them to figure out what x and y are. I think that's what it means by listing any sub-problems. Because we're going to have to figure out this problem before we can figure out the other problem. All right, here we go. I'm going to take this one here. I think I'm going to solve this system using substitution. So if I can isolate an x or a y over here, that would be just fine. I'm going to subtract a 2x from this side, and I'm going to subtract a 2x from this side. Now we've got 3y is equal to x minus y. We add a y to each side there. We're going to end up with 4y is equal to 1x. Well, that's a good idea there because that's what we're going to use to put over here. If I know that x is equal to 4y's, I'm going to get rid of this x and I'm going to trade it in for 4y's. So 4 times 4y's minus 3y's is equal to 65. Well, that would be 16y's minus 3y's is 65. And when we combine that, we have 13y equals 65, which means that y has to be 5. All right, we're doing some damage here. Now, let's take the time here to figure out what x is. If we know that y is 5, we can plug it in and figure out the x. So, 4x minus 3 times 5 equals 65. Go ahead and simplify that side. Now, when we add 15 to each side, we should end up with 80 over here. We have 4 times some number equals 80. Well, where I come from, that would be 20. So x equals 20. Now that we know that x equals 20 and y equals 5, we can figure out what the measure of some of these angles are. We already know that this one is 65 degrees because it's alternate interior angles. Let's take our 20 and our 5 to figure out what our angles over here are going to be. So, 2 times 20 plus 3 times 5 is going to be 40 plus 15, which is 55. So we know that this angle is 55 degrees. This angle is 55 degrees. Well, how many angles do we have in a triangle? Where I come from, there's 3 angles in a triangle, so we need to figure out what the last one is. We can do this one, or we can do this one. Now, are they going to be the same? Yes, they are. Reason why, they're alternate interior angles. We know that the sum of the 3 angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So, let's add these together, subtract them from 180, and we're going to get our angle CPM. All right. So, angle CPM, the measure of angle CPM, should equal 180 minus the sum of 65 plus 55. 65 and 55 is going to be 120. So 180 minus 120 is going to give us 60 degrees. So our measure of angle CPM equals 60 degrees. Well, hallelujah, we just solved our problem. Now, if you have questions about how to solve 4-103, make sure you take the time to see your teacher. They will learn you some math and help you to understand some geometry. I love me some geometry. So, 4-103, have a good evening.